He is another Declan Rice.
Ooh.
He's another huge quality.
It's a big shout, mate. It's a big shout.
I know it is, but I'm talking about reliable, determined, brilliant attitude, great injury record, great mentality, and he's playing on the national level, the English national team, being the star of the show. Thomas Tuchel loves him to bits. He is a real star, one of the best, and I haven't thought about it, but in terms of central midfield players, he's on one hand in terms of the best in the Premier League right now.
Elliot Anderson will be in action again today as Nottingham Forest take on Fulham. As for your go-to reactions, analysis after every Premier League weekend, you can find it on the Two Robbies podcast, on the NBC Sports YouTube channel, or wherever you find your podcast. That's how we welcome in our Premier League insider, David Ornstein. Robbie Mustoe, I think, set the stage pretty well there for Elliot Anderson. What should we be thinking about or looking toward with any possible January transfer interest in him?
There'll be enormous interest in Elliot Anderson, Paul, but it's not going to happen in January. That's for a number of reasons. First and foremost, Nottingham Forest don't want to do anything at this point in time. They've got him under contract until 2029. The player is not agitating to move right now, to my knowledge. And furthermore, the fee that they're going to command is going to be in the region of 80, 100 million pounds, the way things are looking. And I don't think that's very realistic from a PSR perspective, profitability and sustainability, the financial rules that govern the Premier League, even for the biggest clubs. But also in terms of squad and salary space. They would have to get rid of some pretty significant players if they were going to free space up for somebody like Elliot Anderson. And that's why I think the winter is not going to be a time for Anderson to move. However, the summer could be a completely different story. There is no release clause in his contract, but I do think that Nottingham Forest know that if the right price comes in, they might have to do business. And they will understand that pretty much every player has their price. I don't think we're going to have a repeat of, say, the Morgan Gibbs-White situation should suitable offers arrive. But still, it's not going to be easy because of that transfer fee, because of the salary he's already on, in excess of £100,000 a week, which is quite unusual when you move from, say, Nottingham Forest to one of the even higher clubs. Declan Rice, when he was at West Ham, was on a much lower salary when he moved to Arsenal. What about the interested clubs? Well, it's going to be the biggest clubs in the Premier League and Europe. So we're talking the likes of Manchester City, Manchester United, Bayern Munich, Chelsea. Plenty of others will be in the frame as well. I think some of them are already calling Nottingham Forest. Manchester United have made their interest known. I think he's top of their list or thereabouts for a number 6 come the summer. Arsenal are pretty much the only team in that bracket who have a full midfield, so I wouldn't expect them to figure. And his former club, Newcastle, as much as they would love to do it, I think he's probably going to be out of reach financially. A lot will depend on managers, with some uncertainty over the bosses at the clubs that I've mentioned so far. And a player like Anderson will want a bit of certainty around that. So that makes the next 6 months crucial. But the World Cup next summer, I don't think that will affect where he goes. I think the clubs are already convinced on him. If he has a good World Cup, even better for everybody. But I'm not sure that will have a bearing on his destination. It's going to be a big one for the summer.
David, nice of you to mention uncertainty, managers, and label it with 6 months, because with Fulham, Marco Silva, his contract is up within 6 months. We talked about it here on the set. Love to hear more about what you know about what might be happening at Fulham that way.
Yeah, I'm going to start with the January window, Paul, because I actually think Fulham are going to be potentially busy. I don't want this to be famous last words, but the Khan family, Shahid Khan, the owner of Fulham, is prepared to back the club in the market, and that means there is some money for Marco Silva, for the hierarchy to spend. I think they're going to be focusing predominantly on a striker, because Raul Jimenez is now 34 and he's out of contract at the end of the season. They also have a young player, Jonah Kusi Asare, on loan from Bayern Munich, I should say, and that will come to an end. So they'll need to fill that position maybe as early as January. Then the right wing, if you look at their squad, 3 players, Harry Wilson, out of contract, Adama Traore, out of contract, and Chukwueze, he will return to AC Milan on loan. So I think a striker and a right winger are on the agenda maybe as soon as the winter market. the club, the US owners, will probably prefer younger players, and they will want some managerial certainty, as we've just mentioned there with Elliot Anderson, whereas older players I don't think are so bothered on that. So you may see some loans coming in terms of likelihood. And that's because we have this uncertainty over Silva. Fulham, I understand, have offered him a new 3-year contract to tie him down to approaching a decade at the club if he was to sign and commit to that and stay for it all. He tends to leave his decisions quite late, so I don't think Fulham are panicking at this point in time. The offer they've made would take him into the top 6 of earners for managers in the Premier League. That's my information. And the club have a list of potential replacements if Marco Silva doesn't sign. But that uncertainty isn't ideal. There are no talks yet with potential successors. Fulham's priority is to get him to re-sign, but he will have other offers as well, other potential moves to maybe even some bigger clubs than Fulham. So that is a big thing to watch on their front. I do think we could see some exits on the horizon. West Ham, we're hearing, could be coming in with an offer for Adama Traore. Of course, Nuno Espirito Santo managed him at Wolves. And Harry Wilson, despite his form, there are a lot of clubs looking at him. My feeling is that he's probably more likely to leave as a free agent at the end of the season, maximise his earnings, which wouldn't be great for Fulham because they would lose him on a free, but then they could maximise his footballing ability for this final 6 months. So it's actually a really busy time at Fulham in terms of potential transfer activity and on Marco Silva, that unanswered question.
Interesting time coming up for Fulham as we get ready to start 2026.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host of NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock.